So my name's Adam Fristoe. I'm an actor and have worked both in the theater and on screen. Professor at SCAD, where I teach acting for the camera, among other things. Well, I grew up in a really small town, and my stepfather was part of community theater. In fact, one of my earliest memories is watching a play when I was like 2.5 years old. I remember not everything about it, but there's some images that I remember that are really strong. So I started doing plays like in community theater when I was like, I don't know, in second or third grade. And that was fun, and it was kind of a part of my education. When I was in 7th or 8th grade, it's when I started to get really serious about it. And I think like a lot of drama kids, it's because I found that my people, the weirdos, hung out backstage, and that felt good to me. And so I lived in that realm. I ended up going to a Governor's Honors Program, so it's an audition-based Governor's Honors Program, and the one in Georgia, in theater. I tried to go and dance the year before, but I didn't know how to dance. And so, but then I was actually on track to be a musician. I was planning on going to school for classical guitar, which I was already giving concerts. And I got recruited at Governor's Honors to a big drama school. And the scholarship was so good that I had to say yes. So I went there, but still I wasn't considering being an actor. I was sure that I was going to be a director and a writer. That was what my first degree was in. And then during that time, I fell in love with physical performance, with physical theater performance. So immediately afterwards, I went to France and I studied in circus school there. I studied a number of different physical theater styles, European clown style, continued that path. And then I founded a theater company here in Atlanta, which is now in its 22nd year. That was a physical theater company, ensemble oriented, so we created original shows. And when I ended up in my 30s, I just sort of realized that I was making most of my living as an actor, and that I had actually skipped part of the training, which was how to talk. I didn't talk very well. So I went back to graduate school to study classical acting techniques. So this is really based off of Shakespeare classical performance, like heavily text-based. Big stories, big characters. And that's really when I became an actor. Yeah, I mean, my dad really liked it, and my parents exposed me to performing arts big time, and arts in general. Are you saying were they supportive of me doing it?
Yeah.
Yes, but like most parents, nervous about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, when I was ready to go to college, when it was that time, I really wanted to go to some schools out of state. I grew up in Georgia. And my dad was like, there's a Hope Scholarship, you should go to UGA, it's a good school, son. I was like, yeah, okay. And so I got myself accepted into the dance program there to be a dance major, and he was like, oh, okay, so I think you can go somewhere else if you'd like. Luckily, I got a great scholarship, and it didn't really matter. But
yeah, that's good.
But yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, like all parents, they're nervous because, of course, it's a challenging field, and there is instability, and it's entrepreneurial, and it's an instinct to want your kids to be whenever safe and that sort of thing. But they've always been supportive. I think that theater's actors make the best actors. I know there are people that are in the field, they get nervous. They'll say, I'm nervous, I'm scared of theater actors. But what they're really talking about is people who haven't unlearned what they learned in high school, right? So they've learned bad habits. But I think that if you look at some of my favorite actors, right? So like, let's say Mahershala Ali. Yeah. Mahershala Ali is a regional theater classical actor. Jonathan Majors. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Majors is a theater actor.
Yeah.
Those guys are dynamite. They have Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Viola Davis works on Broadway. Denzel Washington works on stage. These are the masters. Tom Hanks started doing summer Shakespeare. That's what he did for the longest time. Right? Yeah, that's where you really learn how to build a scene and build a character. A lot of times I think in shows today, particularly on television, because the next follow-up question, right, might be, well, then why are there so many actors that get cast that don't know how to do that? Mm-hmm. And I think it's when you're working really fast, particularly in television, what they're looking for is simplicity and naturalism. And so a lot of times, particularly with younger people, you find someone who can just be themselves, and that's fine. And then they learn by doing it. If you think about like pilot episodes of any kind of show that cast unless it's a wildly talented person like Bella Ramsey or something,
Mm-hmm.
right? They get way better over time after they've gotten a bunch of reps in, but in their first episodes, they're usually not very good. But I don't think they're ever going to compete. And somebody who doesn't ever walk on stage, or work on stage, which we often refer to as walking the boards, I don't think they're ever going to be as good, as versatile.
Okay.
I think is really what I mean. Versatile and nuanced. That's a good question. I mean, my on set, on film and TV, my favorite experience was working with a director named Timothy Busfield. He's won Emmys. He's done a million things. He's directed 150 episodes of television. He's a remarkable human being. I mean, I actually wasn't acting in this. I was a dialect coach with him as a director, and then he came back on the same series as an actor, and I was his dialect coach when we became friends. But he's what people refer to as an actor's director, and he just so gracefully would be able to speak the language of the actor and be able to allow people to have these really wonderful performances. He helped it make it happen. So in that instance, he was directing a TV star from the 80s and 90s named Delta Burke, who was in Designing Women for years and years and years. Mega comedy star. And she hadn't done anything for a long time. And she's playing in this drama, which I'm not sure she had ever been done on TV. And I remember at the end of it, she really wept. And she says, nobody has ever really directed me before. And it's because when you're a TV sitcom star, like, you're the boss, really. Like, you deliver the rhythm and you know how to do it.
Yeah. And
so then people just sort of like, that's what you do. And she was like, I got to give this like incredible, full, nuanced performance because you allowed me to and helped me do it. That was a great director experience.
Now, do you think that was because he had acting background?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, that's not always the most important thing, right? But it's because he is an actor, and he's also a fine director. So he knows all those different parts. I don't think that you need to be an actor to be a great director, right? But
it helps.
in terms of your question, well, no. In terms of your question about what was my best experience with the director. Was it the best product? No. Right?
Right. Thank you for letting me interview you.
Sure.
That's all I have.
All right, cool. Thanks. Hope it works out.